Saranam Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Sangham Saranam Gacchami Buddham Saranam Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Sangham Saranam Gacchami Buddham Saranam Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Sangham Saranam Gacchami.
Page 4. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanje joda zoge jonam na chanjo bardo dane gyapsu che dage jin so kebe so namge jola penjir sanje jubare sho Sanje joda zoge jonam na chanjo bardo dane gyapsu che dage jin so kebe so namge jola penjir sanje jubare sho Sanje joda zoge jonam na chanjo pardo dane gyapsuch dage jinzo gebe sonamge jola penjir sanje jubare shom Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum te sham dathagato hyevatat Desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato hyevatat Desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum desham dathagato hyevatat Desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well is taught by the great seer. Deyatha om gate gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate bodhisvatyata Om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisvaha. Okay, questions? Questions? Okay, Jacob. Okay. Jacob is saying, so we talked about the dimensional parts or directional parts and the temporal parts. Temporal parts, temporal is not my word, it's the English word. I do not create it, it's the time. Temporal means time. Temporal parts meaning parts in time. So this part, the Jacob is asking, even the temporal or time should be associated with the physical. That physical things change and then the concept of time comes into existence. Okay, a good point. What we need to know is that if going by pure physics, which means the whole world is just ruled by the physical rule, physical laws. But but we need to keep in mind that the physical and the mental, there are two sides. So later on, if you want to be part of the Nalanda Master's course, Nalanda Diploma course, then you will learn, say the whole, what do you call it? Say the classification of the phenomena. The phenomena classified into two, permanent and impermanent. So physics does not touch the permanent. Within impermanent, again there are three categories. The physical form, mental or mind, and non-associated compositional factors. So all these we have to study. All these we have to study, whereas physics only touches the physical and maybe some aspect of the non-associated composite factors. For sure, it doesn't touch the mind. With quantum physics, then the observer is brought up, observer, but they don't really qualify that. They just said observer, that's it, full stop. They don't really call it as a mind, right? What is mind? They don't really go into this. Okay. So therefore, temporal. Temporal means, in other words, all impermanent phenomena, be it physical, mental, non-associated composite factors, should necessarily have temporal parts. All. Not only mental, but all composite phenomena. But with the physical, it has additional divisions. Additionally, we can divide them into the special parts, meaning parts in direction, on top of the temporal divisions. You getting it? So temporal is something common to across the board of impermanent phenomena, which means that the physical form, mind, both can be divided into temporal parts, both. Now physical body has something extra, that is parts in space or parts, directional parts. Good? More questions? Okay, there, lethal.
I think in
Oh, okay, okay. They are not receptive. They don't want to listen to you. Listen to you about the say Buddhism.
Yes, so for them it's not, their path or whatever it is, but they see it as a negative thing that I'm doing that.
Okay. This is again another very serious question. This is what really happens to some people. One is in Buddhism, particularly Mahayana Buddhism, emphasizes on what is known as skillfulness. We talked about the taking the Bodhisattva vow that I will become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. You make the commitment. After making the commitment, then you say that. What is that? What is the verse? In Tibetan, it is Kunjosam Daja Lama Javasichanam to the Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas. Please behave to me, just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as they've engaged in the Bodhisattva practices. You're getting it? Just as first they generate Bodhicitta, then they engage in the Bodhisattva practices to materialize the aspiration of the Bodhicitta. So likewise, I will also generate Bodhicitta, and likewise I will also engage in the Bodhisattva practices. So what are these practices? 6 perfections plus 4 perfections, total 10. And of course there are more, broadly speaking 10. The 6 perfections, what are they? Generosity, number 1. Number 2, ethical discipline. What is number 3? Patience, number 4. Joyous effort or enthusiasm, number 5. Meditative concentration, what is number 6? Wisdom. Okay, this constitutes 6 the perfections. Next 4 perfections. What are they? Skillfulness, aspirational prayers, power, primordial wisdom. 4. So the first one is skillfulness. Particularly in minor teachings, there's a tremendous emphasis on skillfulness. Say, if somebody has a problem and you see that the person can be benefited by Buddhist teachings. Oh, in Buddhism, something about this is Tonglen practice is taught. It'd be good if you practice it. Instead, it may put off. It may make the person feel put off. So the first thing is listen to the person well, and listen to the person well in terms of what problems you're going through, and what you think as the remedy, what the remedies that you thus far say they resorted to, and which worked, which did not work. Not worked, in what way did not work. Listen to them so well, and then try to correlate. So which is the area the person is more receptive to listen to. For example, say when somebody comes to say the Geshe, what book should I read? So the first thing that is, read this book. No, don't say like this. We don't know what is the person's temperament. So first I ask some questions, have some discussions to see where the person is more inclined, towards the wisdom or towards compassion. If towards compassion, then I would suggest the person to read books like Guide to the Bodhisattva's Life, or say the about His Holiness's books on compassion, transforming the 8 verses for transforming the mind and so forth. Whereas if the person is more intellectual, I would ask the person to first read, study Acharya Chandrakirti's text and His Holiness's book, How to See Yourself as You Really Are. How to see yourself as you really are. So depending on the temperament of the other person, accordingly you give suggestions, not just impose what you think is correct. Right? This is known as skillfulness. And by the way, oftentimes what happens is that when I meet my friends, people who I know somewhere else, and they have their own friends, and then they become so excited. They want to introduce the other person to me. Right? And they would say, hey, look, Geshe is there in Delhi. When you go to Delhi, you must go to his classes. Right? I say that, please come, when you visit Delhi, please come to Tibet House. but not for class, for a cup of tea. You're getting it? Don't make things very boring. Class, class, class. Right? So first have a cup of tea. Everybody likes it. First have a cup of tea. Let's have chat. Right? And then what do you want? If the person says, I want to explore what is Dharamsala like, I'll give you the details of the Dharamsala. No Dharma. Dharamsala details. Right? If the person says that I want to see what is the what Tibet House, how the Tibet House works since many years ago, then I will show all the historical accounts of Tibet House. No Dharma, right? So what the other person needs, we can't impose anything. Simply what the other person needs. You give this much. Don't impose. You're getting it? This is so important. So meanwhile, interestingly, there was one gentleman, young man, and whose father once was extremely pious Buddhist, and suddenly he just lost his faith in Buddhism. Totally non-Buddhist he became. Not for any other reason, for whatever reason, but not that somebody is deviated by some other philosophy. No, nothing. He just lost his faith in Buddhism completely. And then I told this boy, I'd like to meet your son. He said, no. Now it's similar to that girl. No. I said, no, I will not teach any Dharma. He will not listen to any Dharma. I said, no, I'm not going to teach Dharma. I'm not interested in teaching Dharma in the first place. Right? I'd like to have a cup of tea with him. He said, okay. So then I'll ask him, you don't like Buddhism? No, I'm fed up with Buddhism. Fine, that's good. Good. Right? You don't have Buddhism. Right? You like your family? Yes. Right? You like your family? Yes. Right? So, if you really like your family, take care of yourself. Right? If you really like your family, take care of yourself. Don't be an angry person. If you're an angry person, this is reflected in the family members. They'll feel something is wrong with you. Be a happy person, right? You may not be Buddhist. Don't follow Buddhism. It's fine. Be a happy person, right? How to become a happy person? Cultivate compassion, right? How to cultivate compassion? By seeing interdependency. As interdependency is taught, compassion is taught. This is Buddhism, right? Don't give the label Buddhism, right? Yeah. Are you good? Next question. Yes, over there. Okay, Leo, do you understand what Mana said? Or your name? Nama. What Nama said? Huh? Yeah, explain this to me.
I'm not sure if I'm right, but you meant like why part of it with the other is so important and you can focus on yourself like in a practice, something like that.
And when the questions are so good, I should listen so well. You getting it? So I sense that the question is so good. I don't want to miss even a single part. Your question is so good. I don't want to miss anything. You want to say it again, or what do you do? I could not remember that Albert Einstein, when he first wrote the PhD synopsis, right? The professor said that he's the candidate for PhD. And what did he write? And professor said, I do not understand anything what he wrote. You're getting it? I can see that you are what you're saying is the profound, but do not understand fully.
Okay, so I'm asking, in order to find our happiness and compassion, etc.,
You depend on others.
yeah, do they have to depend on others, or can they be self?
Okay. Okay, let me paraphrase and you correct me if I'm wrong. Say, if seeking happiness, seeking compassion, so forth, do we have to rely or depend on others, or you can do that independently by yourself?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. This question is so good. Why so good? On the other hand, we talk about compassion. For your own happiness, we have to practice compassion. Compassion means we have to depend on others, right? And depend on others means you cannot do it independently, right? Whereas on the other hand, we are talking about all the time, we are talking about, right, external factors, internal factors. Don't depend too much on external. Focus more on internal, right? So, how do we reconcile that? This is a good question. In fact, say that first we have to acknowledge the reality. The reality is such that we are all dependently existent. Particularly, even if we are to say that everything is, so finally, ultimate happiness is when your compassion expands infinitely. Thus, compassion means compassion for others, not compassion for yourself. But it doesn't mean that you don't have compassion towards yourself. Yes, of course, you have to take care of yourself. So which means that compassion for others, that is the mark of universal compassion for others. So if others are not there, then you cannot have compassion for others. Without this, you cannot have infinite happiness. So this is one thing. Now, dependence on others externally, physically, and mentally, these two are very different, right? Mental, for example, like say, what I can benefit others, how I can benefit others, they're so kind to me, how can I benefit others? So this is where you are seeking the happiness inside by cultivating compassion. Dependence on others, for example, like, okay, my friend whose story I shared with you, that his wife left for her village, and then he had to go to a restaurant for morning breakfast, afternoon lunch. He didn't know how to physically dependent on somebody else. So this is not too healthy. You should be as independent physically, and whereas mentally, you know that the more you show compassion towards others, more your happiness increases. So in other words, say if you look at the great teachers, like just Milarepa, or his own teacher, just Marpa, his own teacher, just Narupatilupa, they were all in solitude by themselves. And they attained the highest of happiness, highest of the compassion. They can reach independently. But always in mind, they always connect themselves to sentient beings, for the benefit of all sentient beings. You getting it? There's no contradiction. One is where you see dependency, your compassion grows to help others, not to take the benefit, right? Not to the benefit all the time, but help others. So here we see there's a dependency there. But in terms of, okay, food, I need somebody else, otherwise I don't get the food, right? And then for travel also, I want somebody else to help me, I cannot do it myself. If there's too much dependency in that sense, you become so vulnerable. Right? Otherwise, for your happiness, compassion, you can do it on your own, 100% yes. You can, independently. Yes. But of course, we need to depend on the books, the teachers, and so forth. But once you have all these materials, then you can go for solitude. I think in the, what is that? In Israel, there's one good small mountain. What is that? Yeah. Carmel? Mount Carmel? Yeah, you can go to Mount Carmel and meditate there. Yeah, independently. No need for others. Yeah. And then once you become enlightened, come down. Help others. Good. Next question. Yes, the Mikhail.
It's an extension to what we read in the morning about non-attachment. Question: if I have an attachment, I know I have an attachment to some object or some person. By our teaching, do I need to release this object or this person?
Okay. Say what we learn is attachment makes you vulnerable. Attachment makes us vulnerable because I'm attached to something. When you don't get it, then you have a problem. Yes, you have a problem. When you don't get it, you have a problem. You attach to somebody. When separated, you have a problem. So this attachment, I should really let go of this attachment. In the first place, why do you want that person? Why do you want that object? Think of that. Why? Mikhail, give me some reasons.
Give you a specific.
Happiness? Happy.
I have an attachment to some house, let's say.
To house? Why? You know, you love it. Babe, just to see this house, it gives you happiness. Right? This happiness. If you don't live there, simply by seeing it, this gives you happiness. Right? Actually, you are not attached to the house, you are attached to your happiness. You getting it? This happiness you can get million times more by looking at inside. So which is better? One happiness or million times the same happiness? Yes, right? So this is where so this attachment is actually harming you to get the million times the X amount of happiness. So that happiness out of this attachment, it is harming you, it is stopping you from attaining that. If you let go of this, you can get the infinite happiness. The way, the manner in which your mind flows towards this object, it makes you so happy. You can let go of this, or instead of letting go of this, you just expand it to the infinity, right? Where you see everyone, anybody, a tiny stone, a tiny leaf, a tiny dust, a human being, poor, rich, the young, old, whatever. You see any object that triggers incredible joy, infinite joy. So this attachment is blocking you from experiencing the infinite happiness. So that isn't good or bad. It's bad because it obstructs you from experiencing infinite happiness. Good. More questions? Okay.
My question has to do with emptiness.
First, I would say the question you asked this morning. This is so good.
The question in the morning.
You forgot?
If I practice compassion and cherishing of others and I'm benefiting from it, is that selfish?
Yes, this is a very good question. You getting it? Okay. Say you have to cherish others so that you'll get the benefit, right? We talk like this all the time. So eventually it is selfishness. Okay. His Holiness is extremely realistic and very practical person. Extremely practical. He said that if you want to be selfish, be wisely selfish. Right? Selfish where you get the maximum. You don't lose anything. What is that? Cherish others. Cherish others and you get the maximum. What is the job of the selfishness? To get the maximum for you. The real selfishness, common people's selfishness is very unwise selfishness. Because with this selfishness, you don't get any, you lose everything. Right? Whereas you cherish others, you get the maximum. This is the aim of the selfishness. You got it. This is wise selfishness. One. Number two is that, say, thinking of getting something for you and doing something good for others, getting something good for you, there's nothing wrong in it. Keep this in mind. You have every right to be happy. It's not that you have to suffer and others make others happy. This is totally unrealistic, the approach. The real approach should be that win-win. 100% win for you, 100% win for others. You're getting it? This is a wisest approach. And the second wisest approach would be win for others and loss for you. Right? And the least wisest is loss for others, loss for you. This is the least. The best is win for you, win for others. This is the wisest thing. Why should you suffer? Say, for example, if you make others happy, if you make others Buddha, attain Buddha, and you suffer, others will be very sad that you are suffering. Why should you make others sad? Make them happy by you become Buddha. Attain it. So, getting the maximum happiness for you, there is no problem. It's not a problem. The problem is when you look for your happiness at the cost of somebody else's happiness. This is selfishness to be discarded. Right? And then, as I said earlier, remember what we said earlier. Initially, we begin with this, that you let go of the selfishness and you embrace others, you get the maximum happiness. When you say this is the first phase. You practice it experientially, this will automatically be upgraded to the mother's love towards the child without expectation in return. Mother's love in general, not all. Some mothers have expectation. Right? So it will automatically upgrade to the higher level of compassion, the love and affection. When that happens, you will see that you will not know when it moves to the next level. You don't know that. You practice it, you first start to feel that you start to feel the gratitude towards all the beings. That because of you, I'm able to say no to the selfishness. But that becomes very intense, right? Intense. The more we think about the cherishing others, there's a joy coming in you. Right? There's joy coming in you. Then you see that this joy is coming because of cherishing others. And gradually, say, your worry about I will subside. Once that is gone, then your love and affection for the beings will become the mother's love. So this purely experiential. There is no like this at this point. Then you become your mother love. No, this is experiential. You will gradually start to feel that way, that you don't have any expectation return from giving love towards others. You reach that. Good. Now the emptiness question. Mike. Okay, so basically, the first thing is they do the emptiness of the simple things like flower, emptiness of the self. Do this. Once you get some stability and some understanding of this, then you can move to the mind. When you move to the mind, before you move to the mind, emptiness of the mind, first you have to identify the mind. You have to practice to identify the mind. Once you're able to identify the mind so well, the way and manner in which we read this morning, say how should the Bodhisattvas, what practice should the Bodhisattvas do at the time of the hour of their death? So the Buddha thought the mind is luminous. So through practice, when you're able to see some form of the luminosity of the mind, then at that point, then you can see the emptiness of the mind. Not before that. Ben.
So let's say I'm attached to my house.
Yes.
So say attached to the misery. So does it mean that I should leave the house? Stay away, far away, find another house and present this house?
Okay. Let's say that okay, what should I do? Right? I have a house. Geshe, you said that you attached to the house. This is attachment. It will lead to your misery. Should I leave the house? I leave the house and you get another house. You feel attached to another house. You have no house, then rain, you have a problem. Sun, you have a problem. You become a homeless person. Homeless person, then you will curse me. Right? He made me homeless. You're getting it? What should you do? These are three options. There's three options. What should we do? You're getting what should we do? Let's go. Anyone? What advice would you give? Timothy? Huh? Stay in the house with attachment. Okay, detached from the house. Okay, Jacob. No, attachment comes. No, mentally we can say, mentally I'll become Buddha. But it never becomes Buddha. Mentally I'll become Nobel laureate in physics. It never becomes... Yes, I meditate, I don't really succeed. So people say that I have to go to Himalaya, I have to leave the house. This is what I'm saying. Impermanence house by going out, right? Otherwise, at house it's very disturbing. Neighbors. You understood what I'm saying? Good. Okay. So what do you do? This is the problem. Let's say that don't expect perfection at the first level. Don't expect perfection at the first level. You're getting it? Imagine that you are in a water pool. In the middle is extremely muddy. And then as you go further and further away from the center, the water becomes cleaner, cleaner, cleaner. Right? First, your body is fully solid mud. What do? Don't try to get the water from the outermost because it's impossible to reach there. You're getting it? So whatever water available next to water is dirty, but it's much better than solid mud. You use that. Wash it. You're getting it? Let the solid mud go away. So your impurity, earlier it was 100% impure. Now with this dirty water used to remove the solid mud, you become 80% impure, 20% clean. 20% clean is much better than 100%, 0% clean. Right? So, in a way, we start from imperfection. Don't expect perfection right from the beginning. Remember the mantra? Gade, gade, para, sam gade, bodhi, swaha. Don't create a new mantra. Gade, bodhi, swaha. Don't create new mantra. Right? Remember this mantra. Gade, gade. Right? Say excessive attachment to something. And the house, okay, yeah, I feel attached to this house, but if I leave, then the what? Pros and cons. In Buddhism, there is no what is known as a cardinal sin. No. In Buddhism. Amazing. You're getting it? In Buddhism, it's all relativity. Say, how should I take decision? I don't know how to take decision. So in this stay in the house, I feel attached to the house. Buddhism said this attachment is negative. If I move to another place, again I feel attached to other place. Again this is attachment. What should I do now? If I have no house, I have a problem. Again I feel angry towards Buddhism. This is also negative. Right? What should I do? Okay. So there, if you are in such a situation, how to take decisions? Decisions is very simple. There is no hard and fast rule to say that this is correct, this is not correct. Right? You have to take a step. You have to take a step. A step may not be perfect. How to take the step? Always look for the pros and the cons. If the pros outweigh the cons, do it. If the cons outweigh the pros, don't do it. This is how we do it. So for example, say, being in the first house, you feel attached to it. Meanwhile, you start meditating, start cultivating it. Oh, I feel attached to it, but if I go to other side, I feel more attached to this, and I'll miss the first house. Is again another attachment. If I don't use the house at all, I may feel, be angry about all these practices because I become homeless. So out of these situations, this is best situation. I'll go for don't expect perfection, go for the best within the given situation. Whatever is best within the given situation, pros outweigh the cons, do it. Cons outweigh the pros, don't do it. This is how we take decisions according to Buddha's teachings. Good. Yes, Benda, follow-up question. Yes. No, we didn't cover the meaning, but we start the mantra every day. Gate, we never recite mantra Om Gate Bodhi Swaha. We never recite like this. Right? Elior, we do not recite the mantra Gate Bodhi Swaha. Never. Gate Para Gate, right? We recite it like this. So although the meaning is not taught, okay, this mantra is what? To remind us that I should keep improving. Gate to the second gate, to the Para Gate, Parasangate Bodhi Swaha. Okay, next, Timothy.
I was just wondering, I find that when I feel most connected to the world around me is when I am connected to community and also when I'm connected to my body, such as like when I'm dancing. And I was just wondering, like, would you classify this as a form of illusion and suffering, or is there also another form of connecting to the divine, which can occur outside of the mind completely?
Okay, attached to your community, attached to your body when you're dancing, and so forth. Okay, so let's say, remember that. Say first, take the first step. What's the first step? To see if it is considered as bad in the community, conventionally in the conventional world. For example, like abusing others, and so forth. These are considered very bad. But as dancing, what's wrong with that? And you feel happy with your body movements, so nice. What's wrong with that? Are these attachment? Say, first step, don't go for the perfection initially. First step, as long as they're in the community, this is the advice of the Buddha, don't disturb the community. In the community, if it is okay, you're okay. But with this okay, you get some level of happiness. But what do you want? You want 50% happiness, 100% happiness. If you want 100% happiness, then you have to think of working to get rid of the attachment completely. And even for that, don't jump to do that. Okay, now I don't take care of my body, no need of food, right? Otherwise I'm feeling attached to the body. No, then you neglect your food. This is totally unwise. You have to take care of your body. Take care of the body, right? And they say that meanwhile, see that study well. Don't take the drastic steps. Study well. Be convinced. You should be convinced that, oh, this is attachment is actually harming me. If I cut this attachment off, then my happiness will really increase. That I can feel. Then you will be the person who will do it. Right? You don't need somebody else to approve of doing this. So first, study, don't take steps. Study well, reflect on this, gain conviction. Once you're convinced, then you take steps. You're getting it? Take the skillfulness. Skillfulness is so important. Good, next. Yes, Arka.
So I'll just, add a follow-up question to Ben's question about the house. So let's say, self-grasping ignorance of a rotten object is easier to get rid of than self-grasping ignorance of pure object, right? Let's say. So what if, I make the house dirty, I don't decorate the house, right? But I just keep it bland, I just put garbage, it smells. So self-grasping ignorance of that rotten house can be easily gotten rid of, right? Without getting attached to the house.
Okay. This is interesting. Did you follow what Arka is saying? It's very interesting. Okay, if you're Ben, this is advice to you, Ben. If you feel the danger of feeling attached to the house, keep the house. Don't demolish this. Keep the house. Don't discard it. Keep the house. Make the house dirty. Keep it dirty, right? Just throw some colors, undesirable colors there. Then you'll not feel attached to it. Still, you can use it. The purpose of the house is to shelter, protect you from thieves and so forth. Still, you can use it, right? Okay. So in this case, self-grasping ignorance will go down. For your information, self-grasping ignorance is purely cognitive. Self-grasping ignorance will never go down. It will go down only by seeing the wisdom of only by seeing the emptiness of the house, not by making dirty. By making dirty, self-centered attitude, attachment to the house will tone down. Because attachment to sound is the house is the blend of the two, self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude too. Self-grasping ignorance is not affected by dirtying the house. You see, the dirty house is objectively real. You're getting it? You will see an objectively real dirty house. Again, this self-grasping ignorance of the dirty house. So self-grasping ignorance continue until you see the emptiness. But when you dirty the house, then the self-centered attitude, I want it beautiful. Now it is no more beautiful. Attachment will go down because the self-centered attitude does not feel so much affinity to the house. So your attachment can go down. That is true. But the thing is that is because of this, the Buddha one step for the monks is say, even for the food, be mindful that you are not eating the food for your luxury and for the taste. These are the advice given. Even the house and so forth, say depending on your mind, the mental power, mental capacity, say that try to renounce this as much as possible so that your attachment will be renounced. So this is exactly what Arka suggested. Yes. And then at a certain point, when your mind becomes extremely well developed, then the external, even if you have say 500, let's say 10, what is this, BMW cars, or what? Huh? Mercedes. No, there are many better cars. Right? Even if you have 20 of these, your mind will not be affected when you reach to a certain level of advancement. But don't think that, okay, I want to go there in that direction so that I can get the Mercedes, which means you're attached. You get it? Okay, at a certain point, it's all about your mental development. When your mind really develops very sophisticatedly, then external factors do not matter. But, that's interesting. This is a good part of Buddhism, right? I can have all the luxuries of life and still be very developed and become Buddha. If this is your attitude, this is not Buddhism. You are still a baby. Okay. Yes.
It's also a follow-up question from Ben's question. So, get to the house, how about people? So I think attachment to people is much, for me at least, is much harder to let go of. And if we try, I think for myself, if I try not to be too attached to people, it prevents me of creating relationships. So how can we,
balance
relationships, but not be too attached or not be, freaked out when we lose this person because, they go away or break up or something like that.
Okay. Keep in mind that I am not a marriage counselor.
We have one here, by the way.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Yes. Okay, let's discuss, not discuss here. Let's get, okay, yeah, you have a question? Mike.
Okay, in the Western psychology, the attachment theory talks about that the attachment between the baby and his parents, is very important for his
Development. Child's development, well-being.
and his mental health when you grow up. And I don't know if these theories living together, but it's not exactly the same question.
Okay. So what Lior is saying that according to Western psychology, right? Say the attachment between the mother and the child is so important for the well-being of the child or the mother. For the child. And for the mother also. For the mother also. don't say all this life, all this time, all along in your life. All life means so many lives, right? So next life, Western psychology will not talk about next life, right? So all along your life, it can affect. Okay, so this is something, in the first place, when you talk about these things, we keep in mind that, according to Buddhist psychology, according to this psychology. Don't say this. Be convinced of, see if you are convinced with what is being said. You getting it? For example, what Lior said, I'm fully convinced. This what I already apply in my life. You getting it? Actually, now I came to know that it is also said in the Western psychology. You getting it? You should be convinced. You should be convinced. How I'm convinced, how I apply this, I'll share with you. Say a mother and the child, or let's say a husband and a wife, right? They emotionally, but they are dependent on each other. They are already in their age, say like age 60, 70, and then they say that the husband thinks of, or the wife or the husband thinks of wanting to do more spiritual practice, and the husband has physical illness. So once I know the husband has physical illness, he's already aged like 50, 60, and the relationship with the husband and wife is not really sour, it's okay. I tell the husband that don't stay too far away from your wife, practically speaking, because you have health issue. Once your health goes down terribly badly, if you're far away from somebody who can, in this world, your parents are gone. Now your wife is there, and she is, she and you yourself, two of you, go along well. Not like, you just see the face and you feel so anger inside. No, it's not like that. The relationship is not sour. So now is the time where two of you need each other. When you're in your in your young adult, so you're physically very fit, so you're needing each other is a very different purpose. But now is the time where you are vulnerable, you want to practice Dharma well, but when your health goes down terribly badly, then you cannot practice Dharma. And this life is so precious. So be with your wife, and make sure that you are not really too far away from your wife. This is what I tell the people, because there's emotional dependency there. There's a physically, for example, say that your health and so forth. And a mother and a child. Okay, some water. Water. You have water? Carolyn, you have water? No? You have? Don't have? Okay, good. Okay. So let's say that let's say that a child, say a father or mother wants to become a nun or a monk, and the child is very young, age 3, 4. I tell them that, okay, first make sure that you take care of the child. Make sure that the child is more independent. Minimum like age 17, 18, 19. Once the child is independent, then you want to do something else, do. Because there's a heavy dependency there, child dependence, emotional dependency. Well-being depends on the emotion and well-being. These two are very closely connected. When the emotion goes down, no matter what good food that you eat, no matter how much you go to gym, your body will keep going down. Emotionally, when you feel so depressed and sad, for a child to lose the parents is a big thing. So therefore, these things are common sense. Although, is it really attachment? Yes, you're supposed to attachment. Should we cut it? Don't go for perfection. You're getting it? Don't go for perfection. Take the first step. Acknowledge that. And do your duty. By, let's say, seeing that this is my duty. I have a responsibility for my child. When you feel that, this is compassion. While the attachment is there, but the compassion also building up. This is so precious. We should be very realistic, right? Don't run away from the responsibilities. This is so important. Good. Okay, Tenzin La.
First of all, thank you so much, Geshe for this morning dedication prayer to all of His Holiness. My question is, I was kind of depressed and feel urgent about natural disaster and climate crisis. Whenever I do something in my life, as much as I can do, I feel helpless in front of the big giant systematic something. And His Holiness's message after floods in Tibet and North China, His Holiness message on 10th August made me more urgent because His Holiness is just explicitly. So, appeals to us prayer for them and also whatever steps we can do, we just do that. So my question is, for a long time we have a precious Dharma that Geshe shares us and teaches us, wisdom of Dharma, wisdom of emptiness and bodhicitta. For a short term, in this urgent time, what kind of practice or what kind of very practical steps do we do in our daily life?
Okay, this is a very practical question. Thank you so much. So long-term practice, short-term practice. Long-term, bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, these things we do from now. And then short-term, for example, like the landslide, flood, wildfire, and so forth. So many people are being destroyed. And then these are natural disasters. Then man-made disasters, wars, and so forth. These are extremely sad. What can we do? Okay. So so always keep in mind one thing, that think of yourself as a mother, and the world is suffering. They are like children, and a mother must remain strong. I'm helpless. When you feel I'm helpless, which means that you're almost like giving up. Mother must remain strong. No matter what, the mother should remain strong for the children. So, the helplessness, this feeling should be stopped. How to stop? Is that the reality is that I will do my best. I cannot do everything, but I'll do my best. And I can do everything when I become Buddha. Right? Till that point, I will do my best. From my side, I will not go into lapse. I will not neglect what I have to do. Whatever little thing, even if I have to pray, I'll pray. If this is the only thing that I can do, I pray. And if I have to share it with somebody else, okay, we have to do something. Something is happening. We have to do something. By sharing, others' awareness increases. Creating awareness, spreading the awareness. Creating the awareness, if that helps, create awareness. In other words, never give up. Number one, never give up. And don't expect to do everything yourself. Right? So what should be expected is that whatever I can do, that I will not neglect. I will do it. This is one thing. Next important point is that, particularly when you when such situations happen, at times you may feel that people around, they're not really talking about it, and you're the only one who's you feel like you're lonely. You're alone. You're alone in this thought. And so here, don't feel that you are alone. There are always good people around, right? If you feel that you are alone, it makes you feel weak. It makes you feel helpless. but there are always good people around you. You have to identify the good people. For example, with the ecology, there are people who are really working for the ecology. And within that, again, there are two kinds. Some, they are more like self-promotion, right? So these, once you identify them, stay away from these people. You really look for the people who are actually doing these things. And sometimes you find these people in the schools, school children. Sometimes NGOs, good NGOs are there. Try to associate with these people. Identify the good people in whatever matter, like human crisis, ecology crisis. With the ecology crisis, you identify the people who are concerned about the ecology. You will feel that you are not alone. With the human crisis, when you see the people are suffering, and then there are people who are taking care of the people. So you identify these good people. Then you will feel that you are not alone. Then the feeling of the helplessness will go down, because there's people there. When you feel the other people, like-minded people with you, you will feel the strength. When you feel the strength, the feeling of helplessness will go away. When the feeling of helplessness comes, you feel weak. If the mother feels weak, then the children, there's no hope for the children. Mother should not feel weak. Mother should forever remain strong. You're getting it? And these are the tips. Never feel that you are alone. There are always good people around. Your job is to identify them. Good? Yes, here.
Maybe you're going to touch it tomorrow, but I'm really wondering about the relationship between the wisdom of emptiness and bodhicitta. That's some ideas about the relationship, but it's like intuition about
When the emptiness is so much, then bodhicitta goes down. Bodhicitta is so much, things objective real is stronger, So yes, this is a good question. Okay, perhaps tomorrow. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow. But you have to remind me. Okay, Rishi. This is a good question. In fact, this is I'm not just saying that it's good for the sake of having to say it. These questions are raised by some great masters. Good.
So, following up on Ben's question,
Wow.
so Tim's comment,
Yes.
things that he enjoys. There's a practice that I often do in Buddhism. It's called universality. And
Universality.
this concept of things that give us pleasure may be for the benefit of all beings, or may all beings be able to experience the pleasure that I'm experiencing while dancing. The benefit of having a house that you're attached to for these reasons. And so what I've noticed what happens to me is that when I become attached to something or very focused on something, my mind narrows externally. There's a narrowing of the mind. And when I start practicing this universality of thinking,
What do you mean by, okay, that this be, I say that everybody experiences the same pleasure, same joy,
the mind just naturally
expands.
and this relaxes the grasp on the object or whatever it is, the attention, the focal point. And then through this expansion, there's a little bit of relaxation. And then in that relaxation, with a vast mind, it's easier later to reflect on emptiness of the object. Or it's easier to do the meditations on equalization, that may all others, be benefiting from the same object. And I find what you said this morning is 100% right. I find difficulty on the stages on 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to Tonglen without the balance of equanimity, without the balance of equalizing self and others, really reflecting on the benefits of cherishing others, and this self-cherishing, root delusion that we have, because it's so conditional. And this universality for attachment has been very, very helpful.
Wonderful. So what Rishi is saying is that, okay, this is very important. Say with attachment to something, there are two things acting. One is seeing the object as objectively real, self-grasping ignorance. And on the other side is the self-centered attitude. These two combine together, then the manifest anger, anger, attachment, these arise. You getting it? So in the attachment, it's not just one thing. There are two things acting together simultaneously. Say, for example, say when you enjoy the flower, good food, don't say, oh, attachment, right? Okay, good food. If you can really feel, okay, this attachment, I should be careful. If you can really feel that, fine. But they say when you feel attached to, be mindful that, okay, I should not be feeling attached, but I get this feeling of pleasant feeling. May all sentient beings have this pleasant. How many people, they don't really even, they have to go to bed. They have to go to bed with empty stomach, no food. Forget about delicious food, right? And they'll be so happy to have a delicious meal. Why not? May all sentient beings enjoy this happiness of having a delicious meal. Say you go out from Delhi, I landed in the airport, Gagal airport, and I could feel the freshness of the air. In Delhi, you don't get this fresh air, right? It's so fresh air, and I could see literally things are all glittering. So beautiful. Pray that may all sentient beings enjoy this beautiful environment of fresh air and the glittering, the leaves and so forth. Pray. One. Meanwhile, also, not just works one side. Pray. When you do this, your compassion increases. When the compassion increases, self-centered attitude diminishes. So attachment, one side of the attachment, it diminishes because attachment is a combination of two. The self-centered attitude, that is diminished by increase of compassion, right? Meanwhile, work on how to see even this good house as empty of objective reality. These two should be acted upon differently. You're getting it? Good. Yes, over there. Mike.
It may sound silly, but supposing I was talking earlier about the monasteries in Soviet Union, and we were talking earlier about the survival. Supposing I'm attached to the dharma, supposing I'm attached to my rules, is that bad?
Okay, so let us be very realistic. Let us be very realistic. Mother's love towards a child. I said that as a mother, you should not give up your responsibility. You should not shirk your responsibility. So mother, there is a child there. No doubt it's attachment, but there's also compassion there. There's loving feeling there. This love and affection is so precious. So precious. Love and affection towards the child is so precious. But alongside is attachment. These two are mixed. Right? So therefore, what we do is that, think of the example that I gave you of, okay, let's say a burning gold. A gold piece which is burning, right? Say, it is just one entity. You hold it, you have the gold, but it burns your hand. You throw it, your hands will be stopped burning, but you're throwing the gold. So you should use your intelligence. This is very precious. Hold it, keep it, but make it go through a process. Put in the cold water. Right? Don't throw it. Put in cold water, let the fire die, and keep the gold. Like? So therefore, even this, the mother's love towards the child is so precious. It has two sides. One is attachment, and the other one is the feeling of affinity, affection, which is so precious. Now, this attachment, you put in the cold water of the wisdom of emptiness. Attachment go away, and the feeling of closeness will remain. This feeling of closeness will make you spread to all the beings to become Buddha. It's so precious. So at the moment At the moment, there are two things: practical side and say the theory side and the practical. I told you before, when you study the theory, don't say they practice. Oh, I have to cut down attachment, right? I should have no house, I should have no food, I feel attached to food, or no food, right? Or I feel attached to my house, no house. I feel attached to dharma, no dharma. Don't do that. Theory, study that well. While you are in the process of theory, I went even to the extent of saying that even the morning practice, you don't have to do it if you're a beginner. You don't have to do it. Just come and learn it. Learn it, right? At least you know this, and you don't have to do it. See if it makes sense to you. Once it makes sense to you, don't force it on somebody else. Do it yourself. You're getting it? So therefore, these things, don't talk too much. For example, say, like, oh, this attachment. No. So therefore, many people, they think that Buddhism is self-denial. It's all because of the people who are totally impractical. You're getting it? Totally unrealistic. I'll give you one example. How realistic the Buddha is. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, very realistic. You know that. Extremely realistic. Right? Many people who are into Buddhism, they would say that you become sick, it's because of spirit harm, because of this spirit harm, right? And then, should I go to hospital? I'll do divination. No, don't go to hospital, right? Do some puja. And then after a few months, you die, right? His Holiness will never say this. You're getting it? This is not Buddhism. Real Buddhism is there. In Dharamsala, we have His Holiness. If somebody is sick and go to His Holiness, please do a division. What puja should I do? His Holiness asks you to do a puja of going to hospital. What's the puja? What puja should I do? Go to hospital. And say, if the illness is quite serious, His Holiness not even send the person to Tibetan medicine. His Holiness send to the allopathic medicine. Very practical. You getting it? If His Holiness got the information that allopathic medicine already given up, then His Holiness say go to Tibetan medicine. This is second choice. You're getting very practical. Now I'll tell you how practical the Buddha is, right? So therefore we should be very practical. And before I talk about the Buddha's practicality, I'll also tell you, did you ever see how good is medicines? Medicine good or bad? In general. Medicines are good. Don't forget it. Don't be, you will say good. You will say bad when you're not sick. Only when you are sick, then medicines are away, you don't get the medicines. Then somebody says, medicine is good, you say, very good. You're getting it? When you say it's bad, you are a very impractical person. You're getting it? Medicine in general. But, do you know that there's a label known as keep out of reach of children? You know that? You're getting it? This is not Buddhism. Right? This is not Buddhism. Keep out of reach of children. All these discussions, some of the discussions, don't talk too much outside. People get a very wrong impression. Right? Keep out of reach of children. Okay, then the children read it. Oh, children cannot take medicines. Keep out of reach of children. Right? I will not take medicine. This is wrong. Don't even talk about this to the children. Right? If you talk about the children say, okay, I should not take medicine. Keep out of reach of the children. You're getting it? So people can be misinformed. Let the people be matured. Once they're matured, then talk accordingly. You're getting it? Oh, this attachment. Don't talk about it. It's so precious. You love education? Precious. You love messy? Good. Right? A child who's always sitting with the mobile, gadget, television, becoming fat, right? And then one day he saw the messy, right? Playing and very nice body, right? Oh, also like to play football. Oh, this attachment, don't do it. And let the child sit more and become more fat, right? Instead of that, praise the child. Amazing. Go. Today you don't want to go to school. Don't go to school. Go to playground, play football, right? So we should be very skilled, right? There are things which have to be kept out of reach of the children. Don't forget it. Don't talk to my attachment. What attachment? You're getting it? So make sure that we are realistic. So let me show you how realistic Buddha is, right? Okay. Buddha is a teacher on this planet Earth who taught about compassion the most. And yet, his practicality. He advised his disciples, the monks. Monks, you should... See, in those days, water. Where do you get the water from in those days? 2,500 years ago. Usually from the river. Right? From the river. When you go there, make sure that you don't drink water with the worms or with insects. You are not to harm the insects. Look, this is Buddha's compassion. And the monks, they ask, how should we do? How do you know? So the Buddha's, in those days, it seems like there are glasses also. I don't know. The glasses, the Buddha said that use a clear the container where you can see inside out. Then you first get hold of the water from the river, from the surface, and look at it with your eyes. See if there's any worm or tiny insects there. If yes, don't drink. Go to look for another place, for a river, for water. Then if on the surface there's no worms there, then you dip it from the middle. And no worm, dip it from the bottommost. No worm, you can drink. And some monks, they are very challenging. In a way, of course, not out of bad intention, but with what? Some intelligence. Ask the Buddha, Venerable Tathagata, is it possible that if you have clairvoyance, that you don't have to use the glasses? You can use the clairvoyance and see if it is good for drinking or not. Buddha said you are not allowed to use the clairvoyance. Why? Buddha said if you use your clairvoyance, you are bound to see some insects in the water. You're bound to see that. So this scientifically today, talking about in the -70, -100 degrees centigrade, in the ice, there are the worms there. In the hot burning fire, there are worms there, scientifically. Right? So this is what the Buddha taught. Buddha said that with your clairvoyance, you are bound to see the insects there. In which case you will die. You cannot drink any water. You will die. If you die, you will waste your life. Right? You cannot think of benefiting others. So the Buddha said, we should be very realistic. Only use the naked eyes. Don't use your clairvoyance. You getting it? This is how practical the Buddha is. Don't forget it. So we should know what to talk, how much to talk, to whom to talk, where to talk, when to talk. We have to know all these things. These are known as the skillfulness. You getting it? Good. Next question. Drishti. Two? 2018 edition. No, 211.
No, the edition is 2018, so it might not be all 211.
But you read it.
So the verse says, neither the aggregates.
216. 216. Page 216. Yes, neither the aggregates.
The first thing is like we were having a group discussion,
Hmm.
and in that we were trying to understand how emptiness is. Like emptiness is a negative, non-affirming, negative phenomenon. So when we say like things feel like things exist dependently, then it becomes a positive phenomenon.
Dependent origination as a positive phenomena. Okay.
Like, does that mean that there is emptiness of dependent origination?
Okay. So what this she is asking, this to correct me if I'm wrong. What she's asking is that, say, last time when we talked about the dependent origination and emptiness, the two things are two sides of the same coin. And emptiness is, but dependent origination per se is not emptiness, because emptiness is not affirming negative and dependent origination is a positive phenomenon. So we cannot say that emptiness is dependent origination, nor can we say that dependent origination is emptiness, right? But these two mean the same. Meaning that whatever is dependent originated is empty of objective existence. Whatever is empty of objective existence has the quality of dependent origination. So emptiness is non-affirming negative, dependent origination is affirming negative, the positive phenomena. Now, I say that, so dependent origination is used as reason to explain emptiness. So here, the reason is given to establish emptiness. Neither the aggregate, nor different from the aggregate, nor the aggregate is dependent on him, nor he is dependent on the aggregates, nor is he in possession of the aggregates. What is the Tathagata? So this is the verse given there. So these points, 5 points indicated there, they are they are to prove the emptiness. So while emptiness non-affirming negative, the reason given is also non-affirming negative. Reason given is not positive phenomena. What we studied yesterday is that reason given is dependent origination, and dependent origination is a positive phenomena, right? So how do you reconcile? Here in this case, both are negative phenomena. So whereas for dependent origin and emptiness, one is negative phenomena, other one is positive. How would you reconcile these two? Okay. Firstly, what I'd like to share with you is that dependent origination, for example, let's say, okay, a book is good or bad? A book in general is good or bad? A book in general is good or bad? Huh? Hey, Drishti. No, you speak your mind, don't worry. In a way, she's a perfectionist. She's room for perfect answer. Very good. So if I say book, right? Can I have a book? And you ask me, what kind of book do you want? Any book. So what is that any book? Good, bad, neutral. Any book. Knife, is it good or bad? Knife. Exactly. You're getting it? Knife per se is not good, not bad. It's neutral. Knife per se. How used, it can be very destructive. It can be very positive. You're getting it? Okay. So likewise, dependent origination per se is a positive phenomena. But within dependent origination, some are positive, some are negative. Some are affirming negative, some are non-affirming negative. For example, dependent origin per se is a positive phenomena. And let's say that I will not have dinner today. I will not have dinner today. Hey, Dogala and the Sheripem, I'm not going to have dinner today. Enter into a view. Right? Right? Positive, negative. I'm not going to have dinner today. No dinner today. Positive, negative. It's a negative phenomenon. You getting it? But even not having dinner is also dependent origination. It's also everything is dependent originated. So not having dinner is also dependent originated. Although it is dependent originated, but it is a negative phenomena. You getting it? A flower, is it dependent originated or not? Yes. Is it positive or negative? It's a positive phenomena. So within dependent origin, we see it's like a flower, positive. Not having dinner, negative. Within all the dependent origin per se itself is positive phenomena. Within that, they are positive, negative, everything. So these the 5 rejections, not the aggregate, no different from the aggregate, not dependent on the aggregate, not the aggregate not depending on him and not possessing the aggregates with the Tathagata. So it's all from the rejection, non-affirming negative. They're all dependent origination, but it doesn't mean dependent origination per se is not positive. It is positive. Within that, there are different kinds, positive, negative, and so forth. Good? Good. Okay, the last question, Jacob.
So within Buddhism, like some of the common areas, meditating on death and impermanence and the Tashishina life, which gives you, like you said, the urgency to continue your practice. So obviously there's a big sense of urgency. We can die at any time, any moment, and this life can be over. But a lot of the practices within Buddhism take such a long time. Like genuinely, like you do, from what I've heard, the Geshe probably takes like 20 years. It's not a quick process.
Buddhahood is not 20 years. Buddha is 3 countless eons. Yes, of course. I want to do PhD right now. Hey, Jacob. I want to do PhD right now. Yeah.
How do you balance urgency with the longevity based on death and impermanence and the Tashishina life?
Okay, keep in mind that according to Buddhism, to complete PhD, you have to have, let's say, the 15 years, 20 years. It's not about Buddhism. It's about the reality. You getting it? If you want PhD, whether Buddhism, Christianity, non-Buddhism, whatever, neuroscience, whatever, minimum you have to study for like 15, 16 years, unless until you are gifted. You are like a Mozart of the physics. You get a Mozart of literature, Mozart of whatever. Unless you are, it's not about religion. It's about the reality. You getting it? I want to become a Nobel laureate in physics. What should I do? Right now I want to do it. I have an urgency there. What should I do? Tell me. What advice would I give? Don't give me advice according to Jacobinism. I want the real advice, not Jacobinism, right? You give me advice. Which should not take me long. Which should not take me like 15 years. I want to do PhD right now. Tell me. Or Nobel laureate in physics right now. Don't tell me to do PhD. It's a very long time. Tell me how to become Nobel laureate in physics. Huh? Yeah, I've been studying physics. I've been reading. Yeah, reading. But I never, all these 55 years, I never become Nobel in physics. What should I do now? Please tell me, urgency. Keep trying. Till when? How long? It depends. So therefore, it depends is according to Jacobinism. I don't want Jacobinism. Right? According to Jacobinism, I cannot trust. It depends mean that it may take me a long time. Right? No, I don't want long time. Please tell me. How do you compare how do you reconcile the longevity and the what? Yeah, how do you do that? You tell me. I have an urgency that I must become Nobel in physics right now. Tell me. Life too long. No, I don't want to take that line. It's too long. Give me just tips to do it right now. Right now. Tell me. Quick. I have urgency. So we should be very realistic. You are getting it? It's not about ism. It's not about Buddhism. It's the reality, realistic. We should be very realistic. You getting it? Say, okay, be kind to others. When somebody is hungry, whatever extra thing that you have, you give to this person. That does not require years and years and years of practice. It's still a practice of the Dharma. Don't say Buddhism. It's still a practice of a decent person. There are some practices which you can do right away. Some practices which will take time. You're getting it? So we should be very realistic. It's not about ism. You're getting it? So what takes long time, you should be ready to spend that amount of time. Right? And you may succeed, you may not succeed. It's not about religion. Even the secular, common sense people who are really bright, they make plans for the family. They make plans for the community. They make plans for the country. And they made the plans. They know that they will not see the result. The result will come after 20 years, 30 years. Building huge infrastructure, dam and so forth. They say the person who made this plan, person may live for the person may be age 85. Maybe another 5 years, 2 years, we never know. But the dam, no doubt it'll take another 20 years in those days. You getting it? And the person knows that I will have to leave this world before I see the fruitioning of my effort. But out of compassion for the citizens of my country, let's start this project. It's not about me that I should see it. You getting it? So we should, some things can be done very quickly. Some things will take time. We should be very realistic and plan accordingly. Good? Welcome. Okay, we'll stop here. Derivation prayer, page 52. I dedicate the marriage thus gathered, trust realization of the teachings in the prayers of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the holding of the doctrine of scripture and insight. May in all lives through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of my hand and vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, and perfect in the 2 stages. From my 2 collections, vast the space that I've amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eyes planted by ignorance. Yata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisvaha. Okay, just a quick announcement that the Thursday, day after tomorrow, is the last day for the teaching for this retreat. And in the afternoon, we're going to have the soul offering. A soul offering is, offering edibles and so forth to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. And why we do this is to accumulate merit. See, even for us to be able to attend the retreat, that you don't become sick, I don't become sick, that we don't have to stop in between. This is all because of the merits. And the merits are something which we cannot see, but we can accumulate. And we don't have these merits. Some people, they sign up for the retreat, and the last minute they have to cancel it, because the lack of merit, these things happen. And of course, Deborah, you have enough merit that the Jane, then Nicola, and a young man, and Laura, they all are there to create the condition for you to listen to this teaching. So you have incredible merit that you never give up, right? So this is amazing. So what I'm saying is the merit accumulation is so important, and by making this merit accumulation is like the building up the energy, virtuous energy within you. Say, making offerings of good things for all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. These are the epitome of the virtues. So you connect yourself very closely by making offerings and so forth. The virtuous energy is being accumulated, is being built up. So this is merit accumulation. For that matter, we are doing this offering. Usually for all these retreats, the last year we do the offering, Tsok offering. We call it Tsok. Tsok means accumulation in Tibetan. And for this, what we do is that we make some contributions, any amount, whatever you like to contribute, and the Thosamling office will get all the ingredients to offer to Bodhisattvas. They will buy them on the basis of what we don't call it donation. It's like offering monetary offerings that you make, or yes, monetary offering would be good. So then there's going to be some uniformity there in terms of what offerings to be done. And otherwise, if you have your personal some like fruits, chocolates, whatever you like to make offering, that also can be offered. Okay, so this is the best would be if you have monetary offerings, do it today or tomorrow, because day after tomorrow they have to get the ingredients here, right? So that is part of your contribution to this song offering. And yeah, so this is what I'd like to share with you. Okay, 3 prostrations. And after offering, you will get it back. Don't worry. After offering, then all what you offered, you will get them back, right? Huh? Yes, you get both. Is it that you're leaving?
I'm leaving tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Those who have some pressing questions relating to real life challenges and so forth, and if you think that meeting with me, you can get some suggestions helpful,